What's up, everybody? I was muted. I'm sorry. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Coach Smook call-in show. Well, this here is a little bit of Smook Scoop. We got some reports from today's preseason camp, and I hope y'all are ready to get into the conversation, man. Y'all know my brother always coming through. The writer for the internationally known publication, The Athletic. My big brother, man, Kennington Lloyd Smith III, man. We're going to get him on here in a minute. But as you come in, make sure you drop a like on the stream. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you're not a member, you're not seeing this in real time. So when you come back and you're seeing this and you want to see more of this content in real time, think about joining the channel and becoming a member. Getting that wristband, joining the AAA family. Authenticity above all, man. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have us an authentic conversation with someone in the industry that I've come to know as a brother. And without further ado, y'all, I'm not going to make it all jazzy and all that stuff. We're going to get my brother on the line, man. Let me see if I could get him here. Yo, Kenny, can you hear me, my brother?
I can hear you, man. What's going on?
Man, nothing much, man. Chat, let me know if y'all can hear my brother Kenny in the chat. I got about 7 or 8. Okay, let's go. I see y'all over there in the chat. Hey, let me know if y'all can hear my brother Kenny, man. He's over here checking in, man, on the road, getting the inside scoop. I can't wait to see you Wednesday, bro. How you feeling?
Nah, man, I'm all good. I'm glad that we got some football to talk about, and it's coming at just like a crazy time in the calendar. Like, tournament time is coming up in basketball. The men's and women's got a lot of motion. Baseball, softball in full swing. Now we got football, so it's just a great time to be around Alabama sports. But obviously we're here to talk about the football, and it was a pretty eventful day today, I would say, for a day one.
Awesome. Just initially, your thoughts. You know, I'm all about vibes and just getting a feel for just the environment itself. And you know, last year, day one, opening day viewing session, you remember the type of energy. It was kind of just a high, kind of like an unknown energy, but like it was on a positive side, ready for change, but not so easy. Just trying to figure out the vibes of how the coaches were going to do interviews. What was just the environment in the reporting atmosphere, you know, having built that relationship over this past season, doing the team reporting? How was that environment?
Yeah, it was interesting. Like you said, last year, maybe anxiousness was the word. I think that we wanted to know what it was going to look like. I think, you know, people within the program that carried over from Saban's staff and his players wanted to know what it was going to look like. And this year, I think it was just a lot more comfortable. I think obviously, DeBoer is a lot more comfortable as a head coach. I think everybody in the organization is just more comfortable with how things are and how things are going to be. Same thing with the media side. I think you just kind of saw us be a lot more comfortable with DeBoer. We kind of know how he likes to, interact. We know we can kind of take a joke. Nick Kelly from the Tuscaloosa News was just kind of like, so, Kalen, is the quarterback situation settled after today? And got DeBoer, a little laugh. So just kind of stuff like that made it a more relaxing environment. But I would just say that last year there was probably a little bit of anxiousness, and I think the word I would use this year is probably enthusiasm, just from the business side and just from our side. I think we're all just eager to see how the quarterback competition plays out. We're eager to see how spring practice plays out. We're eager to see what A-Day looks like and what that's going to kind of and how that kind of tells the story of what happens this spring. So I would say it was a pretty exciting time overall.
Awesome. Speaking of the quarterback position, we know that there was no real repping of as far as schematics and things of that nature today. But you know, there was some announcements about some players, being held out for the spring completely. Some guys were limited. Of those guys mentioned, who's going to be impacted the most as far as the transition into this second year in your mind, by not being able to participate, and what opportunities do you see that's going to be presented that will impact the development of this team the most?
Yeah, I think the person who I would say is probably impacted the most would be Caden Proctor, especially after missing spring practice last year. You just felt like this was a moment for him to lay a really strong foundation for the year, because Alabama really needs him to take a step forward and be that top 10 player in the country pedigree that he had out of high school. At times he has shown it. At times he's been inconsistent. It just felt like this spring ball was really critical for him. So for him to only be limited to like individual drills and non-contact work was, I just think disappointing for the fans because they wanted to see him take that step forward. And that, I think, really changes how we have to look at Alabama's spring practice almost as a whole. It's obviously going to affect the offensive line. Like right tackle was already a position battle. Now they're going to have to expend some resources to man the left side. It's going to affect the quarterback competition, obviously, because it's not going to be the full strength first team offensive line. Pass rush is a question mark. So if we're hearing that the pass rush is looking good, we're going to have to kind of take that with a grain of salt because Caden Proctor's not out there for 13 periods. So his absence is going to affect a couple different positions, which is why I feel like it's the most impactful. But to your point, there's opportunity now at right tackle. There's opportunity for Will Formby and Jackson Lloyd and Michael Carroll. Two highly touted freshmen are going to get a chance to play a lot of tackle reps. Olau Salinen, who we've kind of known to be a guard, reps some at tackle today in team periods. So there's going to be some guys moving around and getting a chance to build some depth there. But I just think, Proctor not being out there is pretty significant.
Awesome. And to kind of piggyback off of that, I was looking at the defensive side. A lot of people were glad to have Deontay Lawson come back. They felt like him coming back to be in this system. With his experience in Coach Saban's system, I don't think, to me, and we're just giving, I think there's a reason why he came back. He felt like his performance was very underwhelming. His production probably took a dip because he was trying to get used to the new style of play calling, adjusting to the new scheme. I think this year, going into this spring, would have been very detrimental for him. It would have been very important for him. But in that same breath, I think him being able to see from the sideline a little bit more of what Coach Womack and now Coach Matt Sherrill being in that linebacker room and having that defensive coordinator experience, having that sideline one-on-one time in live, watching live reps, getting in that film, I think that's going to help him. That's going to impact him in a way to where we're going to have a solid 3-man rotation for game reps in that inside linebacker room. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think for Deontay Lawson, like just kind of pairing his physical with the mental and getting it realigned is going to be really important for him. You talk about being able to see things from the sideline. It's like, with him last year, I think you talk about a different production and maybe some disappointing play. I think just like his tackling kind of took a step back. And just to see him, for him to be on the sidelines and maybe like see angles differently or understand run lanes or how to run fits and like those type of things that are like maybe not top of list of what we're talking about, what are the most important things in spring, but just little things like that I think could make an impact for him when he gets back on the field in the fall. So being able to just kind of I think see things is going to be really big for him. And it's a big spring for the inside linebacker. When you mentioned a 3-man rotation, Justin Jefferson not being out there, I think is pretty significant. But for Nakai Hill-Green, I mean, what an opportunity for him to come in as a transfer and not just be, we thought, a complementary piece, but now he's going to be like the focal point, middle part of the defense. He's probably going to have the green dot. He's the most experienced person in that room. So I think he's going to take a significant step forward, just being able to have much more responsibility than he would have if Deontay Lawson and, Justin Jefferson were healthy. So big opportunity for him. But, when everybody gets healthy, I think, you are right. It's going to be a formidable rotation. I would like to add, as we're talking about these injuries, these are not injuries that DeBoer indicated are serious injuries.
Right,
these are just,
correct.
They're going to miss spring. Most of these guys are going to be ready for the summer. Lawson will be ready into the fall. But these are not like serious injuries that are going to carry into the season most likely. These are just, more precautionary type of situations.
100%. And I think that's the good thing coming into this, knowing that guys like Bubba Hampton, guys like Deontay Lawson and Keon Sapp, who had serious injuries ending last season, that we have the quality of depth and we have that faith or that trust in our system of development, being Coach Kalen DeBoer and staff, that they saw the growth from a freshman class last year that created quality production, impactful production on both sides of the ball. I think we continue that trend by developing young guys. This class of 25 on both sides of the ball, you got guys that can come in and if developed properly can be quality depth for you or quality, can give you quality starter reps or playing time for you. So I think we're in a good position with the veteran guys that we see having to take a back seat and really focus on getting healthy. And a guy like Deontay Lawson, like I was saying, I think his impact when he's 100% is it may not show on the stat sheet, but you can see when he's 100% and not second guessing how physical he can be. he's a different player, and he's a first round talent. So that's kind of the quality we want to hear that from the staff. What's something else that you would highlight, Kenny, as we kind of just get into the meat of what to expect from Coach Kalen DeBoer and his staff? Ryan Grubb being on the sidelines for day one at practice. Can we get any type of feedback from that type of interaction or what's happening around that?
Yeah, with Ryan Grubb, it's interesting. He is gonna be obviously the play caller, but I just think his role as like an overseer of the offense is really interesting because he's not assigned to one position. Like you see these college coaching staffs where it's like offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach. He's just offensive coordinator getting a chance to oversee everything. So he's going to be involved with the quarterback competition. But with Caden Proctor being out, I think we're going to see him maybe gravitate towards the offensive line a little bit more because there's going to be some attention there. He's going to be able to gravitate towards the running back room because they're going to have to revamp their run game. So I think him coming in and kind of doing an analysis of what he has personnel-wise, scheme-wise, and being able to oversee everything, I think is an underrated storyline. So I think for him, it was just about him just kind of getting a chance to look at every position and see what he really has all on the field. But everything that we've heard and what's been indicated to us is that it's been a pretty seamless transition. I think it helps that all these guys have worked together previously. Probably not nice for Nick Sheridan to get this demotion, but he is still on staff. And he still is an integral part of what they're doing offensively. So I think they're going to be able to kind of galvanize the group. And I think it's going to be really interesting with the offense because you typically I don't think that we thought at this point in DeBoer's tenure that the offense would be the one with the question marks on the team. But that's the situation that we're in. And there's not to say that the offense is going to be great, but I think we all feel better about where the defense is at and their floor and their ceiling compared to the offense, just because of all the returners and the experience that they have. So Grubb's coming in at an interesting time and a critical time because they're going to have to get a lot of things aligned. So for him to be able to come in and just be the coordinator and get a chance to oversee everything and have his hand in everything and not be tied to one position, I think is pretty important. And that's going to be something that we're going to be able to monitor as the spring goes on.
100%. And I had my own theory, just knowing and having the relationship with the staff. I think this is something that Sheridan is more familiar with, having the offensive quality control background, starting his career off early, and then really elevating under Kalen DeBoer as, his tenure under him on different staffs continued to go. This is something that I believe is perfect for this level. I feel like if Nick Sheridan was your OC at Washington, in that league, in that region of the country where they had kind of started getting established, there's a different level of play calling style and delivery that you come with in that region. But you come to the SEC and you come to the division of the SEC, basically coming to the gauntlet of a schedule like this first year schedule. Our conference schedule for this first year with no divisions was pretty solid. I will say that. And to deliver like he did with the amount of assets that he had available, the limitations that were shown early in the season, in the first quarter of the season, by week 4, we were who we were. And it wasn't a pretty product, but to be in position, the position that we were statistically wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst, and you got some familiarity. You get to allow not just Ryan Grubb just to oversee things, but you get to allow a guy, Nick Sheridan, who loves recruiting. He loves getting into talent development. His specialty is, schematics. That's what he wants to be behind the scenes doing. So I think you're kind of putting guys in the more comfortable positions in this high pressure situation. Being at Alabama, there's no secret. Following up the GOAT, there's never going to be a lifting of pressure until you win that first one. And right. I think this staff, Kalen DeBoer, bringing Ryan Grubb in, and there has been some buzz that we are looking for to fill another offensive position, coaching position, on-field staff position. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go get someone who's familiar with the system to assist Coach Cap with the offensive line. Everybody else across the board has quality assistant, position coaches. I don't see one listed, for Coach Cap. So that'd be something to look out for too.
Yeah, definitely. And, on that point about Sheridan, I just want to say this, like, you can have your feelings about him as what he did as a play caller, but there's no denying that he is an asset to the program.
Oh, yes.
for those who don't know about his background, he was one of the early identifiers of Michael Penix when he was at Tennessee. And he was the one who, identified Keelan Russell out of Duncanville and was his lead recruiter. So his scouter works, and he's a great recruiter. And he's also been on the road recruiting guys like Zion Gibson, Tadarian Morgan. He's recruiting across multiple positions, multiple sides of the ball. He knows what he's doing in the scouting and the recruiting part of it, which is a huge asset for Alabama to have. So he wasn't the greatest play caller last year. Let's also remember that he wasn't even supposed to be in that role in the first place because Ryan Grubb was there and then went to Seattle. So it was already makeshift from the beginning. So regardless of how people feel about the overall job he did last year, there's no denying that him staying with the program is a net positive when you think about the relationships that he's built within the quarterback room and the relationships that he's building with the 26 recruiting class in multiple spots.
For sure, man. I appreciate that. And so we kind of get away from the locker room side because I think today we're more surprised, not necessarily get away from the locker room, but I think today a lot of people were surprised about some of the listings, height, weight of guys, numbers. What caught your eye with some of the changes? I know for me, just seeing the number 10 donned on Justin Jefferson, and I made some similar comparisons, not necessarily, I won't give him the physicality, but the speed, the range, the mentality, the run fits, the way he run fits, the way he attacks the run game, his athleticism. I made a similar comparison to being Reuben Foster, so that was kind of exciting to see what type of things caught your eye, and were major changes that kind of, would spark some interest for a writer like yourself, sir.
Right, yeah. I think for me, when I'm looking at the height and the weight, the fact that you look at like who lost the most weight, the offensive line being almost at the top of the list at all of them is significant. Like you think about Ola Salida, he lost 10 pounds. Kaden Proctor's down 10 pounds. Gina Vandermark's down 8 pounds. Rock Montgomery's down 7 pounds. This offensive line is getting slimmer. I think they're trying to get a little bit more athletic. As we know, that's like a staple of what DeBoer and Grubb want to do. They want to pull their linemen. They want to get them out of space. They want them to run. Alabama's offensive line has been notoriously heavy in years past. So that continued process of trying to cut down that weight to kind of find that sweet spot of, big enough to still compete in the SEC, but slim enough, athletic enough to be able to move the way that they want to. I think that is something that we should keep an eye on this spring. Also, the other thing that stuck out is this experiment with Jamarian Latham moving to Wolf full time. He's down 13 pounds, which is the most of anybody on the team from last year to this year. So him kind of stepping into that role and what type of tandem he might form with Quay Rusal and Yanze Pierre, I thought was notable as well. And I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Keelan Russell getting 17 pounds since he enrolled. I'm sure that's the one that got people's ears perked up the most because it's like, okay, we know the arm talent is there, but he's slim, the Jaden Daniels comparisons. Then he pops out today. He's 192. I think people are a lot more confident in his ability to maybe withstand some of the physicality. So that'll be something to monitor too as time goes on.
Big shout out to Alabama's strength and conditioning program and their nutritional dietary team. Kenny, I just have to say this, man, because I'm looking at where we're at now in this transition now, year two. Kalen DeBoer has really seemed to just kind of embrace the pressures of what it is at Alabama. I look at his countenance even at the podium today, his approach today, it was like he's really taking possession of this assignment. And I feel like that same message is being seen and received by the locker room, just by my personal conversations, but also just the demeanor at practice today. Some of the clips that have been circulating, the pictures, some of the things that's being reported on different. I'm looking at this and I'm saying like the track record. I mean, the cycle just continues. And if this has worked in other spots, college football, yes, is evolving. NIL is an impactful thing. But you said something about Coach Sheridan that I believe this staff understands and is going to keep at the helm. And is what's going to keep them, especially with how they've got things grouped together with guys that are specialists in development, guys that are specialists in recognizing talent on multiple sides, at multiple positions. This is a quality staff. And so when you mix all these things together and there's a bought-in mindset this can be a dangerous team, and I think we're going to see the level of competition that we need to see to really truly believe that going into A-Day, going into fall camp, all of those things, just by the delivery from Coach Kalen DeBoer today. Your thoughts on just moving forward with Alabama football, the momentum behind it, and just kind of your thoughts surrounding just that, you know.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to that. And I just think it's just kind of the natural progression of things. I think at this point, unlike last year where there were conversations about culture changing and culture blending and how are these pieces going to work together, I don't think that there's any doubt that everybody is moving forward in one direction now.
Yes.
I think that there's no doubt about, everybody who's in the program now at this point is a DeBoer guy. It's no more, okay, these were Saban's holdovers versus DeBoer's transfers versus incoming freshmen. And it's all in one group now, and they can all kind of move forward in the same direction, which I think is an underrated aspect of roster building. We're talking about people this young and moving parts and all of that. The psychology of it, I think, is really important. So I just think that alone is a really big thing. And I just think for DeBoer, just being comfortable, being able to move forward in the way that he wants to, is something that's important too. Not that he wasn't confident in doing that last year, but it's a delicate situation when you come into a program taking over for Nick Saban and having to build and construct a roster, because as we know, building rosters in college football these days is fragile. It's fickle.
Yes.
People can leave for any given reason. So he had to kind of walk a line of how to kind of pull all the pieces together. I don't think that's a concern this year. So I think that is putting Alabama at a good point. And you said something interesting about the competition level, which goes back to the injuries. Obviously, you don't want to have that many good players hurt, but in some ways it can be a blessing in disguise, because what we've learned about this staff is that if they think you're good enough to play, they're going to play you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how old you are. So for somebody like a Jackson Lloyd, a Michael Carroll, Dijon Lee at cornerback, these guys are going to have an opportunity that they maybe wouldn't have had if some of these other guys were healthy. Caden Jones at inside linebacker. So they have an opportunity now to really put a good foot forward and put into these coaches' minds that they deserve some playing time as well. So maybe we might see the playing rotation strengthen a little bit out of spring practice if some guys are able to kind of take advantage of that opportunity, because we've seen that they're going to play as many people as they think kind of reach that threshold. So frustrating in the moment that some of these guys aren't going to be there because we were expecting them to have big springs, but in the long term, it might end up working out if Alabama can build out some depth.
100%, man. And I share the same thoughts. And Kenny, before you get out of here, man, I just want you to give the people what you're doing, man. I was waiting for the next athletic article that you're going to put out. But tell everybody where they can find you, man. I'm going to make sure I get everything clipped up so we can get everybody, because this is a hot time of the year, and your storylines and your coverage is very insightful. You, along with a lot of the other creators and publishers for Alabama football. But I know we're going to be crossing paths a lot here, man, and I want people to be in tune with what you got to say, especially through Twitter, Instagram. I know you've been getting back active on IG, so let the people know where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, on X at Skinny Kenny _ SKINNY KENNY _ theathletic.com, The Athletic. However you get your mobile apps, you can search my name. You can search Alabama football. It's all there. We're going to be talking a lot this week about just where Alabama sits entering spring practice. We're going to do some things with Ryan Grubb, who's talking on Wednesday for the first time publicly since he was hired. That'll be interesting. Working on a little bit of a deeper story that's coming out this week about just kind of what Alabama's offseason was like and just kind of how they've built up to this point of flushing last season and looking ahead to spring practice. I think fans will enjoy that. And then we're going to be, continuing to just break down the roster and writing features and doing other things that pop up during spring practice. So like you said, it's a great time to be following along. I hope people follow along at The Athletic and come check me out and see what I got going on, and hopefully stay through the season.
For sure, man. For sure. It's going to be a ride this year. It's going to be a good one, man. And we'll be seeing you soon, brother. I appreciate you. It's always an honor to have the great, man. I'm telling y'all, this the trailblazer right here. Y'all know every time I bring Kenny on, man, it's going to be insightful, informative, and he's really setting the standard in this industry when it comes to how we're moving. So I appreciate you, Kenny, for coming on, man, and gracing the Coach Smook Network with your presence, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the invitation. You know, it's all love, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
For sure, brother. I'll catch up with you, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, take care, man. Yes, sir. Everybody, Skinny Kenny on the line. Kennington Lloyd Smith III of The Athletic. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you enjoyed that content here as a member, just share the word. Let everybody know we got some quality, insightful content being pushed out here on the Coach Smook Network. My brother Kenny is the GOAT, man. My brother Kenny is the GOAT coming through. Wednesday, we'll be tapping in with another well-respected Alabama reporter, coverage writer, a guy that's going to really be able to break some things down from a scouting standpoint. Has been doing recruiting and scouting for some time now, and you all know him. He's a great personality, a great brother of mine, friend, somebody that I could depend on when I really want some information validated. I could really rock with this guy. None other than the great Rodney Orr, man. He's doing great things, and I appreciate him for tapping in. And we'll be on site Wednesday for media availability, providing you some type of coverage for our Alabama Crimson side. I appreciate y'all, man. Keep us up in your prayers. And remember, when you see your boy in the streets, holla at me and say, put me in the game, Coach Smook. I appreciate y'all, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Roll Tide, AAA family, authenticity above all. And I love y'all. Y'all be easy.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.